ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. One day before Guru Purnima, we salute Jagat Guru, the teacher of the entire universe, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and pick up again where we left last Wednesday morning in India or Tuesday evening in the West. We began chapter 11, Vishvarupa Darshana. And as those of you who attended it or watched it on YouTube a little later know, I spent much of the time in the last class giving a general picture of the entire 11th chapter. Thereafter, I covered, I guess, just 2 shlokas of the original Bhagavad Geetā text. So, we see that in this 11th chapter, Vishvarupa Darshana, it begins with Arjuna saying, with great awe, with great excitement, he says, Arjuna Uvacha, we saw in the last class, Madanugrahaya Paramam Guhya Madhyatma Sannitam Yatvayoktam Vachastena Mohoyam Vigato Mama. Just to do a very quick review, he appreciates in life, in good communication, appreciation at the right time, in the right measure, goes a long way. I don't claim that I do it all the time. Please don't think I'm finding fault with anybody in the audience. All of us, many a time, fail to acknowledge some favor received, some kindness that was shown to us. And when we don't do it, to quickly draw from Valmiki Ramayana, Sri Rama says to Bharata in Ramayana, a good leader should not fail to do what is called appropriate gestures at appropriate time. The word used is Mangala. Mangala the aprayogam kachitvam varjayasi. It's an expression. Oh Bharata, you are going to rule Ayodhya for 14 years now. Please ensure that during your leadership, you never fail to do appropriate gestures. There are hundreds of thousands of appropriate gestures in life, but I am just saying one of them is to appreciate. Arjuna appreciates here. Sri Krishna, you, in order to shower your grace upon me, taught me all this, and in the light of your teachings, my confusion, my delusion is gone. That doesn't mean he got enlightened, but his confusion about his duty, what he should do. You and I also have confusion on many levels, and very often we are not clear what we should be doing. In everyday life, many a time, we don't know what we should be eating, how much we should be sleeping. So, please don't take moha vigataha to mean his fundamental spiritual ignorance is gone. That doesn't go even at the end of the Gita. But what he says, mohoyam vigato mama, my confusion is gone, is clearly at the level of what he ought to do. He is pretty much clear that I must fight. It would have been a blunder on my part to run away from the battlefield. It would have been shameful. He understands now. In the second shloka which we saw, Bhavapyayau hi bhutanam shrutau vistarasho maya. You have explained to me, Lord, how living beings come into existence. Bhava. How living beings go back to, call it non-existence or call it unmanifest state. From you, O one with lotus petal-like eyes, Kamala Patraksha. One of the secondary reasons why Bhagavad Gita is very popular around the world is its beauty of literature. Tvattaha Kamala Patraksha Mahatmyamapi Chavyayam. O Lord, with eyes resembling lotus petals, your glory, your greatness, I have heard, but I want more of it. That's the whole idea. That's how some of you may be worried already that I'll remain stuck with the first two verses only this class. Don't worry, I'm proceeding further. Because I have a bad reputation of planning to cover 8 verses, but doing only 2 verses. Let's see how it goes today. It's all Sri Krishna who prompts us to do or not to do. I enter now for the benefit of all of you, the third verse. Again, with my exposure to Sanskrit, I sincerely appreciate the beauty of these words. Evametad yathathatvam atmanam parameshvara drashtumichhami te rupam aishwaram purushottama. Arjuna says, Yatha tvam attha. 10% of the audience, I am sure, are into Sanskrit and would like to know what is this attha. Attha is nothing but the second person singular of aha. If it's, uvacha, dasharataha aha, dhritarashtraha aha. Aha means he says or he said. And Artha is when Arjuna says to Sri Krishna, you say all these about yourself, Atmanam, Parameshvara, you are the Supreme Lord indeed, says Arjuna. Now, what you have said, that the whole world rises in you, whole world or the universe merges back in you. All that is wonderful, I don't doubt it. But I would like to see. Drashtumichhami te rupam. I would like to behold with my own eyes tava rupam. And which rupa? Your rupa, your form, your look as Ishvara. Sanskrit language has all this charm. From the word Ishvara, you get the word Aishvara. Aishvara means of the Lord. Aishwarya is again Ishvara Bhava. Someone having the status of being the boss, being the master, being the ruler. Parameshvara in the first half, Purushottama in the second half. Those of you who want to engage with Gita should engage with Gita if possible on the philosophical level and try to internalize those teachings. But at times when your mind does not cooperate, what you should do is take some simple exercises. Just like during your long day, when you are unable to attempt some creative work, to take a break and rather than sleeping off, rather than watching television or doing some less thing, you do smaller jobs, smaller tasks. In fact, all of us face the challenge of time management. And those who have the skill of time management, very smoothly, very spontaneously, or what they call seamlessly, they move from hard tasks to simple tasks and a phone call here and replying to emails, then back to the challenging work and so on. Whereas those of us who are very poor in time management, we try to do something which is a little hard. When we get tired, oh, I'm tired, we just sleep off. And then we don't get sleep at night because we slept during the day. Shiva Shiva. All this happens. Why am I talking this? I said you could engage in Bhagavad Gita in hundreds of ways. When philosophical study is getting a bit hard for you, take a break and just make a list of all the names that Vyasa, Sanjaya, Dhritarashtra or Arjuna, whoever uses for Sri Krishna. In this shloka you have Parameshwara, you have Purushottama, and the shloka practically means Arjuna is asking, I would like to see your divine cosmic form. Let's see what Shankaracharya says on this shloka. Evam etat, two words from the shloka. And then, na anyata, yatha yena prakarena atha kathayasi tvamatmanam parameshwara. I would fully enjoy, I would fully appreciate the way you have put it, na anyatha. I don't want to go by hearsay. This morning, Lord Sri Krishna, you have blessed me. Saying all this, what a privilege, what a great blessing. I don't think anyone else in the three worlds got the opportunity to hear such things from you. And on this battlefield, you have showered your grace upon me. Therefore, the way you have said it, evam etat yatha atta. See, Acharya Shankara gives a synonym. Atta means kathayasi. If it is third person, kathayati. If it is second person, kathayasi. If it is first person, aham kathayami. So, atta is madhyama purusha ekavachana of dhatu bru. Bru is to say. But strangely enough, it becomes aha in one set of forms. Otherwise, brute, braviti, bruhi. You have a popular bhajan. Bruhi mukundeti. Brew means to say. Some coffee makers took this word brew and they have a popular coffee. Brew, I guess instant coffee, very popular, maybe from the company Nescafe. So, maybe brew. Maybe they want everybody to have a sip of that coffee and then brew, say, wow, wow iti bruhi. Bruhi va iti. Anyway, so Artha. And what did Sri Krishna say after all? Shankaracharya explains what Sri Krishna said so far, especially 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th chapters. which are highly focused on elaborating on what Sanatana Dharma means by God. A lot of people these days haven't got exposed to traditional teachings, but they have an opinion on everything. They just say, God, I don't think there is a God. So let's not go on a tirade against them. But what I mean to say is, study some Gita, attend a few lectures of traditional teachers who are not only scholarly, who are pious, who are well-natured, whose achar, daily life is something adorable. Then you will develop a certain sense of what Sanatana Dharma, Hinduism, means by Ishvara. Those who study to a certain extent with proper teachers will never make such statements that there is no God. But do you know what God means in Vedanta tradition? Having no idea about it, but that's how the world runs. Leave it aside. Adi Shankara says, Tatapi drashtumichami tava rupam. Which rupam? The shloka says, Aishwaram rupam. See, Vishnu becomes Vaishnavam, Shiva becomes Shaivam, and Ishvara becomes Aishwaram rupam. Your godly form, your form as the entire ruler of entire universe. Now Shankaracharya supplies, that's where whenever one should be afraid of Shankara Bhāshya, maybe some 30% of Shankara Bhāshya is hard, difficult to understand. But 70%, I would say, is pretty easy. With a pencil, sit down with Shankara Bhāshya and mark the word from the Gita. The word from the Gita here is Rupam, Aishwaram Rupam, your lordly, godly form. Aishwaram and Rupam are from the shloka. But what Shankara provides is Jnana, Aishwarya, Shakti, Bala, Virya, Tejobhihi, Sampannam. That godly form of yours, for right now you are standing before me in a human form, Manusham Rupam. Rama and Krishna lived their life and pretty much all through their life, people saw them in human form. In the Yuddha Kanda of Ramayana, was it sage Agastya? Agastya, I guess. He asked Rama, who are you? And Rama himself says, Atmanam Manusham Manye Ramam Dasharathatmajam. Well, who am I? I think of myself as son of Dasharatha and I regard myself Manusha, Manushya. I guess that is when sage gives to Rama around that context. The stotra called Aditya Hridaya. Rama, don't look at yourself as just a mere human being. Recite this Aditya Hridaya. Many of you may know, in a lot of Hindu homes, people recite Aditya Hridaya every morning. Why? Aditya Hridaya is said to bring to you courage, prowess, energy, and intelligence. You will be a super performer, while presently you may be regretting about your low efficiency, about your being afraid of X or Y, your being beset with complexes, hesitating unnecessarily at places, and plunging into scenarios where you should not. And then you get more baffled more bewildered, you feel more strained. Such people, in order to gather new courage, should recite Aditya Hridaya. It is all praise of Aditya, Surya, but through Surya, through the praise of Aditya, the sun, God actually is approached. So around that place, Rama says, I am Manusha. And in Krishna avatar also, Sri Krishna was looked at as a human being. Many people took him very lightly, very casually. And Arjuna also did that mistake. In this very chapter, later you will see, Arjuna begs of Sri Krishna to forgive him. Tat kshamaye, he says. I mistook you to be an ordinary person, just a friend, just one more person like anybody else. I did things, I spoke things which were not appropriate. For all that, this morning I beg of you to grant me forgiveness, says Arjuna. Later we'll see. But Sri Krishna is not human. He is superhuman. He is divine. Shankaracharya says that lordly form has jnana, infinite knowledge, Aishwarya, Prabhutva, master, being the master, Shakti, unbelievable amount of strength, Bala, one could be a intellectual strength, Bala could then be physical strength, Virya could be certain energy that refuses to yield, Tejaha is radiance, ज्ञानैश्वर्य शक्ति बल वीर्य तेजोभिः संपन्नं तव रूपं द्रष्टुमिच्छामि पुरुषोत्तम Parameshwara, and so on. And Arjuna submits a little more. All this, once more I may say, are good examples of effective communication. We must go on polishing our communication. Much of our sorrow in human life is because we had something good in our mind but did not communicate it properly. Then there was friction. Then there was misunderstanding. Then there is heartburn. So communication, let me add one last point, is not just improving your language. It is improving your intelligence. Intelligence comes first. And then, yes, language is the tool. First, you need to discern. Should I say, I'm sorry at this moment? Should I say, thank you at this moment? Should I say, it's all right, let's see another day? Should I not say anything at all? Should I move away from the scene? Or should I prevent the other guy from moving away from the scene? Tell him, sit down, sit down. So, all this is not possible with just language. There are a lot of people in this world who have terrific knowledge of language, but they have messed up their life because they polished their language but did not arouse intelligence in themselves. Intelligence is to be aroused, awakened in us, not by using more and more books or dictionaries, etc. It has a place in the scheme of things, but we can increase our intelligence through intelligence itself. Every moment, choose carefully. Before you eat, before you drink, before you get going somewhere. I had a friend of mine who would just get going, Bangalore. He used to live in northern part called Malleshwaram. He would just get onto his two-wheeler and start. Then we would ask him, where are you going? Actually, I don't know. As I go, I will find out where I am. What a crazy guy. And he literally did that sometimes. He would just go. And then he realized, actually, I don't have any work in the town. He would come back after 10 minutes. We would ask him, why did you come back? I changed my mind. Why didn't you sit for 2 minutes before starting your scooter and driving off and think, what is it I want to do in the city? What are the one or two tasks? And then plan. Then start the. See, that's where, call it lack of intelligence. That's one way to describe it. But if you think about it, I don't have to tell you, yourself will know. Such things happen when you have certain mental complex. You are somewhat uncomfortable sitting at home. Maybe other members of the family are looking at you and you feel maybe they want me to leave now. I'll get out. So you go onto the scooter and start the scooter start. And then you come back. Then you will feel uncomfortable at another place also because of another complex. So without going long on it, awakening of intelligence is no different from clearing our mind from various complexes. We fear where we should not fear. We hesitate where we should not hesitate. Where we feel low, where we feel low, where we should not feel low. But suppose, in spite of it not being appropriate, we go through various confused emotions. That is called complexes, mental complexes. So, communication is not a matter of merely improving language, merely learning some tricks and tips and ways by some self-help book. Above all, as lofty teachers tell us, in life we require more than anything else awakening our simple intelligence. Before doing anything, before saying anything, or before deciding not to say anything, just check, double check. I think I will not say anything, but should I say something? And go through the simple exercise of when we should speak, when we should not speak. After all, there are criteria. Don't be in a hurry. Then you will improve your communication. There are many people who speak just a few words, and those words have so much weight in them. And there are many others who go on and on, maybe in wonderful, enviable language, but people lose respect for them at the end of their, if I may say, someone talked about somebody was too talkative, but didn't have any ideas to impress. Long back I heard this. They described him, that man, he has a diarrhea of words and a constipation of ideas. Look at that. A diarrhea of words and a constipation of ideas. How sad. Therefore, simply words, Sanskrit or English, Hindi or Oriya, don't simply improve your language. Do improve it to an extent, but 10 times, 100 times more important is improve your ways of responding. Learn to be intelligent. And that's a big science. That's a big art. There also, like in spiritual matters, there are higher approaches, lower approaches. As I said, perhaps in the last class also, I am presently reading, though I am a very slow reader, a little bit once in a while. A book by James Doty. He is a neurosurgeon or neurologist in Stanford University. He talks about growing. These are my words, I am interpreting. Growing in intelligence, growing in stature, growing in ability to accomplish, etc. He talks about it. And being a neurosurgeon, and he was very, very much helped by somebody in his life with certain techniques. And he shares a technique with the readers, which has a place in the scheme of things. I wouldn't call it the highest, but it is a certain valid technique. And he talks about visualization. Perhaps it comes very close to what they call elsewhere NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. You visualize not only how others would behave, you visualize how you would behave. He talks at length on visualizing what you want to be 5 years down the road. With your present complexes and confusions, you are held back not so much by anything of the world, you are held back by your own limited or faulty thinking. He says, visualize yourself to be reaching a certain level of effectiveness, efficiency. Visualize yourself, sit down and for a few minutes, you are doing, let's say, MA in economics. You are a student, but visualize after MA I will be doing PhD, then I will take an academician's job, I will be a teacher, and I visualize myself teaching well, doing this with whatever limited knowledge. And I will be a very esteemed professor of economics in a good college in our town or in our country, etc. So I'm examining that material, but it seems to make sense. So that's an intermediate approach to increasing your intelligence. Lofty teachers, of course, scoff at it. Lofty teachers like Ramana Maharshi and so on, they would say, hey, whatever you visualize and whatever you may become also down the road, 5 years, 10 years, it is all finite. Ask yourself, who is visualizing? Who am I? No, that is awakening of the highest intelligence. If you awaken the intelligence as per the guidance of Ramana Maharshi or Ramakrishna and so on, those lofty teachers, you are wanting to become an esteemed professor of a reputed university, etc., will all be peanuts. You will actually be free of large traces of complexes. Because as you know, even the professor of Harvard University or somebody in big positions have their own complexes, their own sorrows, their own suffering. Therefore, the lofty teachers, high plane, top level teachers, ask you to go to the root cause of all your misery. In a sense, or perhaps James Doty would say, they are also asking you to visualize, but on a much higher plane. Not as a professor or as a doctor, not as some attorney or some politician, but you visualize yourself as being free of any image free consciousness. So we went long on this business of communication. Communication has its place. And the fourth verse now, Manyase yadi tat shakyam maya drashtumiti prabho yogeshwara tato me tvam darshaya atmanam avyayam. How beautiful, how sweet. Very softly, probably with some trepidation, Arjuna says, Prabhu, O Master, Manyase yadi. If you think it is possible for me to see that form of yours, Tava Rupam Drashtum Maya Yadi Shakyam Manyase, He Yogeshwara, O the master of all yogas. If you think I can watch it, I have the capacity, Tata, then in that case, Darshaya, please show me. Pashya means see, Darshaya means show. That's called causal. Pashya, see here, Darshaya, show it to me. Darshaya Atmanam. Show yourself in that godly form, which is Avyayam. This human form comes and goes. But that cosmic form of yours, though many are unable to see it, is ever present. Your godly form is ever present. People are not able to see it. But a particular avatar, probably for 100 years, for 200 years, whatever, that people are able to see. We want to see. I want to see now that changeless, eternal form. Only if you think I have the capacity to behold. As we will see a few verses later, Sri Krishna himself says, you won't be able to see it with ordinary eyes, but I will give you Divya Drishti. That is answered later. Meanwhile, Shankaracharya says, Manyase. The first word of the shloka, Manyase. Bhashyakara gives a synonym, Chintayasi. If you think, Yadi is if. Yadi tvam Chintayasi, Maya Arjunena Drashtum Shakyam is possible. Prabho Swamin, synonyms. Half of Shankara Bhāshya is appropriate synonyms or expressions which are like synonyms. As we said before, Jnana, Ishvarya, Shakti, Bala, Virya, Tejo Vihi Sampannam. One expression. So, Yogeshwara, who is Yogeshwara? Yoginaha, Yogaha Tesham. Ishvara. So whatever various yogas, various spiritual disciplines exist, you are the master of all of them. All the skills are under your belt. You own, you possess, you have already mastered all these yogas. The four most well-known being Karma, Bhakti, Dana and Yoga, Raja Yoga. Hey Yogeshwara, Yasmadaham Ativa Arthi. Bhagavan Bhashyakara, that is Shankaracharya, brings in a word very appropriate to Arjuna's state of mind at this moment. Arjuna is Arthi. Arthi means one who seeks, one who wants, one who longs to see. Arthi. Elsewhere, the same Arthi becomes Prarthi. Prarthana. One prays, one seeks. Somebody who is unwell, from the bottom of one's heart, wants God to bless him with good health. A short video by Nelson Mandela was doing the rounds. Many of you must have seen. In some context, I guess Mandela said that. He said, all your life you are seeking hundreds of things. Somebody wants wealth, somebody wants power, somebody wants to win elections, somebody wants to win something. So many goals. But in life, you may come to a certain point where you lose your health. And when you lose your health, you are bedridden, you have breathing trouble, or you have eyesight is going, you have constant body pain, then you will let go of all those 100 desires you had. You will ask only for health. You will want only health. Very powerful short video clip. It's so true. And that blunder, that mistake, all of us do. We are not careful with food, we are not careful with exercise, we are not careful with our other daily life habits. We are careless about 100 things, but chasing madly certain other goals of life. And if health fails, then, right. So, Arthi, we should actually be desiring good health, and then there also spiritual health. Physical health is very necessary. Mental health, more necessary. Spiritual health is the solution to everything. Because with spiritual health, even if you have some problems of the mind, like loss of memory or some kind of, unable to decide what to do, With spiritual health, you will have a fundamental ability. What is that? You are unable to decide, then you don't decide. You keep away. And after some time, you will see clearly, then you decide. Spiritual health is a certain well-being in the inmost corner of your being. Deep inside, you have a sense of, number one, being well. Number two, you have certain peace, certain balance. And physical health, mental health, many a time are more concerned with doing particular things. If you have physical health, maybe you are able to lift so many pounds or kilograms. If you don't have physical health, maybe you can't even lift a chair from one room to another. That's not good, but that's not such a serious issue. So, if with spiritual health, you will be able to come to terms with physical and mental ill health. Therefore, even chronic patients or terminally ill patients, suppose, have a certain spiritual wisdom, then amazing. They can be happier than people who are very, very fit and fine physically and mentally. So I need not elaborate further, but it is the truth. Spiritual health is something where deep inside you are okay and you come to terms with. You may be on a wheelchair, but you are at peace with being on the wheelchair. You celebrate being on the wheelchair. Think about it. So, you went up the stage to sing a stotra, a hymn, let us say. And second line itself, you completely went blank. If you have spiritual health, though your mind is not functioning, is not able to remember how to continue that hymn, you would smile and apologize to the audience. I am not remembering. Thank you, some other day. And smilingly you come down the stage. Because spiritual health is such things. Absence of ego, absence of self-importance, absence of wanting to be better than somebody else, to impress people. All this, yes, spiritual health is more of letting go of wrong identifications. I feel tempted to quickly quote. There is a spiritual teacher who is going around nowadays, Acharya Prashant. I read a little by him the other day. And something he said, nothing new to me in a way, but the way he said was nice. He said, the greatest enemy of yours is inside you. Bhagavad Geetā also says, Atmaiva Atmano Bandhu, Atmaiva Ripuratmana. So Acharya Prashant doesn't say anything which is not said in the Gita, but the way he puts it is the greatest challenger, greatest enemy is inside you. And he says, of course, there are challenges outside too. There are enemies for you outside too. He agrees. And then he says that I found something novel. The outside world is your enemy. It's a very hard challenge. When the outside world constantly says, get this, get this, get this. The outside world says, get this expensive car. Car you have today is not so good. Get this house. Get popular. Get that seat. Get that chair. Get this. And go around to visit 7 countries abroad. Around the world in 7 days or something, or 21 days. Do that. So, using a Hindi word, he says, half of his literature, I think, is in Hindi. The outer world says, Pavo, Pavo. Pavo means get it, get it, get it, get the car, get the house. That's one enemy, and you become sorrowful. My God, I may not be able to buy that car. The inner enemy, he says very nicely, he is a Advaita Vedanta teacher of his own kind. Very nicely he says, the inner enemy constantly has a song to sing. Don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. Chodo mat, chodo mat. What does he mean by it? It is all your bad habits which are the inner enemies. Bad habit number one, sleeping more than what is required. So at 5:30 a.m. your what is it? Alarm rings and you want to get up. Today I will get up early. The bad habit of sleeping another 1 or 2 hours says, please, you have always listened to me. Today don't leave me. Listen to me as I say. Sleep a little more. And you are diabetic, you have decided not to eat sweets. But the inner enemy says, you always enjoyed Mysore Pak. After a long time, Mysore Pak has come before you. Mat chodo. Don't leave me. So, you and I are victim of many bad habits. And the inner enemy doesn't want us to leave even one bad habit. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Eating sweets says, don't leave this habit. Sleeping too much says, don't leave this habit of sleeping too much. Talking too much, not allowing anybody else to speak. So, in group discussion, sometimes we find somebody is supposed to be a moderator, but he has no moderation in his speech. He is supposed to manage how others take part in the group discussion. Somebody is talking much, he should say, okay, please, okay, let us hear now this other man. Let us hear this lady. And he addresses another lady. Do you have something to say? And she says then. His job is to ensure that everybody participates. But there are some terrible so-called moderators of group discussion. They come and take their seat. Nobody else has any chance to talk. So that's a bad habit. The bad habit says, don't leave me. Hold on to me. You always held on to me all these days. Why do you want to leave me? So Acharya Prashant is very systematic. There's an app and he's going in a digital way. Anyway, let me not. But he says this beautifully. The inner enemy says, don't leave me. Bad habits ask us not to leave them. Outer enemies are millions of things. Get this, get this, get this. Right? So, Arthi. What does Arjuna want today? Arjuna wants to see God's cosmic form. Shankaracharya introduces this word Arthi. Tataha tasmat me madartham, for my sake, darshaya tvam atmanam avyayam. Show yourself to me, says Arjuna. This is the fourth verse we have seen, and we have Sri Krishna responding to Arjuna in the fifth verse. Most graciously, Sri Krishna obliges Arjuna and then also says, I will give you special divine vision. That's how it continues. We shall take up next Wednesday morning in Indian time, Tuesday evening, the West. I wish all of you happy Guru Purnima, which is on Thursday. May the grace of the Guru Parampara, especially of Jagat Guru, Sri Krishna, Vyasa, Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, and our teachers in this life, may all of them. Some teachers may not admit they are teachers, but we learnt a lot from them. Some teachers may be not very traditional, but it's all right. We benefited from them. For us, they are great teachers. Some were silent, some spoke, some wrote, some sat at just one place, some traveled. So all those sources from which our life became enriched, more illumined, we moved from darkness to light. To all those teachers, we bow down and show respect. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.